Good morning, wherever you are in the world, or good afternoon if you happen to be on the other side of the world. It's Helen Vandenberg here at GetClientsFast.net. Having had the hair puff today, I've got lots of meetings and some video work to do today. So we're just testing out my new backdrop. Obviously we haven't done the lighting yet, but I thought whilst we're doing that, we will I'd do a couple of videos for you. So this morning I wanted to talk about what to do when your clients leave unexpectedly. So if you're a coach or a consultant or an expert service provider, most of the people I work with really care about their clients. They have a massive connection to them and they want the best. In fact, all of the people I work with are like that. They want the best for their clients. So when clients leave, it can be a bit of a shock, particularly if there's any kind of acrimony, if there's any kind of you weren't expecting it and that they weren't happy with the service, that sort of thing. So I wanted to talk today about what you can do if you are caught up short and suddenly someone that you thought you'd be working with for perhaps another 3 months, 6 months or a year suddenly decides, and it's usually by text or email, that decides that they no longer want to continue. So the first thing is step back. I think because we put our heart and soul into our work, it's not like, going to do a job where you have no connection to it. But it's what I find is that my clients have such a deep connection to their clients that when somebody decides that they want to stop the relationship, it's like losing a friendship. You can cut to the core. It can almost feel like a betrayal. So I think first of all, you have to step back and manage your emotions. So often when people leave suddenly, usually it's in a reaction to something that's happened in their life. So maybe they've had the breakup of a relationship, or maybe they've had a job offer or something that has caused them to have quite a big shift in their life. So first of all, this may be nothing to do with you. In fact, it's quite likely nothing to do with you. They're just reevaluating things in their life. So first of all, we have to extract any emotions that are coming from them or you from the situation. So first of all, if they have given you feedback that may be critical, or maybe they've sent a text saying, it's just not working out for me, then we can take that very much to heart. So first of all, you want to analyse any feedback they have through the filter of they're making a big decision, they might be, and they're likely to be in an emotional state. So first of all, step back. Also, I would say find a friend, not someone who's going to go, that is outrageous, they're terrible. Someone who can be calm and focused with you, probably your coach or mentor, or a good friend who can talk through the situation calmly. So step back and look at the facts. So if the customer or client has a complaint about you, just look at the facts. What is it that they were unhappy with? Or maybe they're just making a very slight sort of excuse or a comment that is, yeah, I think I've done my time. Or it could be, I'm done now. Now you might think or know there's a lot more that they could do, but if that's their decision, fine. But I'm talking mainly about those situations where you were caught off guard and perhaps there's a little bit of criticism about you or the way the service you've given. So first of all, step back and you want to regroup. So you want to reflect on what was said, how are you feeling, and then look at the facts. So if the fact is that they were on a 6-month program and they've only done 3 months, that's one of the facts. If one of the facts is that they've written a statement saying that they are unhappy with a particular area of the service, then you might want to, then that's something to note down. We can often catastrophize in our head. So somebody might say, well, it wasn't quite what I was expecting, but we might interpret that as you were completely rubbish. Okay. So be mindful of any words that weren't actually said or written that are already starting to, come in your own mind. So stick to the facts. So once you step back, first of all, don't feel put on the spot if they've phoned you or if they've emailed you to immediately respond. That's probably the worst thing to do. You want to make sure you take a breath, get some feedback from a supportive coach, mentor or partner or friend, and have a considered response. So the first thing is step back, gather your thoughts and get the facts down. The next thing you want to do is put your CEO hat on. Now, it is very personal. If you're just a one-man band, you have you may even have a small team, but essentially you are the business. So let's say if you are a health practitioner, a massage therapist, a personal trainer, then you are the business and people are focusing on you. So it can seem very, very personal when somebody criticises or withdraws from service. So the next thing you need to do is get away from the individual and put your CEO hat on. If you were running this as a business and a larger situation, this would just be a customer concern or a customer complaint, and you would have a department to deal with that. So what would your customer service department do? So you step back, you would look at their concerns, and then you would consider your response. Do you want to make a proposition about, is there a way we can repair this? Is there a different package they should be on? Do they need more time? Do they need flexible payments? So consider, if you were a customer service, if you had a customer service department, what would they be looking at? What would they be considering without that emotional charge? And then I want you to take control of getting back in touch with that person so as you can take a deep breath and you are not caught off guard, and you can just go back and be the leader in that situation, not to resolve it in that next contact, just to be the person that steps back in saying, oh, thank you so much for that feedback. I understand that these are the reasons you're thinking of leaving. Could we discuss them further? And the purpose of the next communication is just to get more information. Now, you may have people who, for whatever reason, maybe they've just blown up 20 grand on their credit card to pay to go to Disney or something, and what they're telling you and what reality is not the case, and maybe that's it, they've made their decision. Still worth asking for a meeting, either phone, Skype, or Skype or in person, to discuss it further and just say, I'd love to learn more about what your concerns have been. We've had a very close relationship, and take them through. And the point of that meeting is to find out more information and to prepare then a later response. If they say no at this point, then that's I wouldn't push it further. I would follow up with a written summary of the feedback you've had from them and your responses to it. Now, what if they owe you some money? Now, this is the thing, is for some of us, we need to make sure this is a great wake-up call for if are our contracts in place. So if they owe you money and they have not fulfilled their contractual obligations, check your contract and see what they agreed to. Now, if you haven't got that in place, then this is your wake-up call. Then you need to see your lawyer or solicitor and get a strong agreement in place. And it's really your choice whether you choose to pursue that. For my part, if I've had this happen probably twice in about 15 years where there just wasn't a fit and the person wasn't right for me. And frankly, I was quite delighted they chose to leave. And I chose on both those occasions not to pursue the money. However, there have been cases where people have bought products and clearly downloaded them, used them, plagiarised parts of it, and then tried to get the money back, in which case I'm a lot firmer. So I think it's your choice. Do you pursue the money? Do you pursue what is outstanding? It really depends on the strength of your contract. So this is the time you need to get legal advice, or certainly if you have no or a weak contract, then you probably don't have much of a leg to stand on, but you probably want to make sure that is in place for your next client. Well, you definitely want to make sure that's in place for your next client. So first thing, step back. Next thing, you reach out, be the CEO, be the person that is managing the business, and you send in your customer service department, which is you with another hat on, and just go to find out more about that person's concerns. Now, it's very likely when you have that conversation, you will discover something they're not telling you, or something that could move it forward and actually bring them back in. Or maybe you'll just both become very clear that they are not ready to continue. So the next thing is you want to summarise where you are now and make a proposal. And that may be to recover some of the money if they owe you money. It could be to offer them a different programme. It could be that as a gesture of goodwill, you are confirming that the contract is going to close at this point, and you have your own terms about to make that happen, what is relevant. So you might want a non-disclosure agreement in there. So it is it's one of those things, the more clients you get, you will occasionally get a tricky situation. Like I say, it happened to me twice in about 15 years, and it will happen to all of us at some time. So if you have client, the other thing to learn, another thing to learn is that, you know, if it doesn't happen to you, it will. You know, none of us are bulletproof. And people, what they say and what is the truth is sometimes are two different things. They will say what will hopefully get them the result. And when people are making a decision from fear, they will often, you know, pull in their money resources. So that may be what's going on. But your job is not, at the first instance, to shoehorn them back into working with you. This is a learning experience. This is a time for you to review your contracts. It's also a time for you to review how are you monitoring their progress. So how are you measuring how happy they are? So are you, after each session or treatment, getting some feedback, either written or verbal, and you're writing it down, saying what was most valuable from today? What have you moved? Well, how have you moved forward between last session and this? How is our service giving value to you? So you want to be documenting that. And also, I think often our clients forget how far they've come. Once they've got over a big hump and they're starting to do things more independently, they often forget that they started back here. So being able to track their process, so their progress, you might use tracking tools to do that, or you might just use, like I say, a coaching methodology at the end of a session to wrap up, you know, what was most valuable about that. So those are my tips for when on when you get a rainy day and perhaps you have a client that leaves. And don't forget, you know, sometimes when a client leaves, it's the thing you need. It's the thing you need to spur you on to open up room for new people, and also to just galvanise you into, gosh, I need to hustle and get some more work going on here. And finally, sometimes people come back. I've had clients that have been with me for 2 or 3 years. They go away for a bit, and more often than not, they will come back a few years later when they're at their next stage of growth. So think about keeping that relationship positive and open, and seeing, you know, what you can do to support them. And are they right? Maybe they're done. Maybe this is the time when they need to move forward. So if you're taking it extremely personally, then I would say that we need to move from a place of fear into strength and go, okay, how can I make sure that, one, people who've agreed to a long-term commitments do follow through with it, and two, that I'm giving such extraordinary value that they see exactly as we go, even when it gets tough. So, for example, in my contracts and when I work with people, one of the things that it says is that working with me and working on yourself and your business can be incredibly tough, and you're likely to experience fear and run into roadblocks. You are committed to 6 months or 12 months or whatever. What would you like me to do when, so one of my questionnaires says, what would you like me to do when you hit a roadblock and feel that and are worried or concerned about continuing? So you can do things like that. And of course, sometimes real emergencies come up in people's lives and they have to withdraw or put things on pause. There is always a way, but it's about stepping out of fear for yourself, being the CEO of your business, and knowing there are plenty of clients out there, and this person may be someone who needs to take a break and come back, or it may be someone who is who actually you need to pursue in terms of getting the agreed amount of money from them, or it may be someone who you just need to let go. So there's no one right answer for everyone, but if you are experiencing that, and if you haven't, I'm sorry, at some point you probably will, then no, it's part of the game of being in business. This is the stuff, this is the edge where you learn. When it's all going great, we're generally not learning much. It's when things are a little bit tricky and are pushing you out of your comfort zone, it means you're ready to step up. So have a great day, guys. I'd love to hear in the comments below what you do when a client leaves unexpectedly. And also, more importantly, how do you take care of you? I've talked about the kind of practical things, but you need to stay resilient. So how do you take care of you when that's happening? All right, guys. So if you want to know more about this, if you're not already in the group, hop on over to my Facebook group, Client Attraction for Coaches and Experts. And we have weekly trainings in there. So I cannot wait to see your comments. Tell me how you take care and bounce back, take care of yourself and bounce back when you hit some kind of roadblock block like this. Have a great day. It's Helen Vandenberg from GetClientsFast.net.